So my name is Vera Dragovic O'Donnell. I am Serbian and Irish. I have a Serbian-Irish son attending Brookhill. That means one, my only one. He's been with Brookhill for 5 years now. 5 calendar years, but almost 6 school years, academic years. When he comes home complaining about certain things at school, which kids do, I ask him, so do you want us to change the school? He says, no. So I guess there must be something good about Brookhill. So here we are almost 6 years later. It seems like he might just graduate from Brookhill. Since he was schooled in Ireland the first 5 years, he came back with not so great Serbian skills. National school was not an option because he would struggle. So we looked out for international schools, and it was actually a personal recommendation that made us choose Brookhill. A very good friend, her son here. They've meanwhile moved on, like diplomatic kids do. So it was personal recommendation. It was also the fact that Brookhill was the youngest or the newest of the British schools in Belgrade. And usually coming from here, I know that when something is new, something is good here. And it takes a while before it gets a bit stale. But so it was the youngest, which means it was the most motivated school. It was a school which, was eager to get students, was eager to exceed, and these two things coincided. We're being back, so personal recommendation. Here we are. Boom, Brookhill it is. Communication, which is mostly through email these days, is good because because the school is responsive. Even when I send a silly parent worry-related email, I get a response the same day, and my fears get dispersed usually, which I value very much, having the pandemic in mind. But it was the school was pretty responsive even before, and tried to accommodate whatever were the opinions, wishes, desires. Of at least of our family. Considering all the grumpiness that follows teenage age, he's not too grumpy about it, if I can put it that way, which is a very English way of saying things, or Irish. And the teaching methods, I don't get involved too much because so far he's been a very good student, so I didn't need to intervene much. But what I did notice is when we had parent-teacher meetings about IGCSE, the teachers, the curriculum is the curriculum. It's the same worldwide, but the teachers did change it a little bit in terms of catering to the students' interests. The most obvious example is the history teacher. Focused a bit more on the Second World War and the Nazis and everything that the kids find a bit more intriguing that maybe other parts of the history curriculum. So that I think was really, and history was not the only subject. I think I remember the physics teacher and the sociology teacher were telling us they were going to teach, sustainable development goals and all the things the kids are into. And then put in the bits that are mandatory in between, dispersed, which I think is a really good way of doing things. Well, I think the school did as well as they can in the circumstances. I think the online mode is unfortunate towards the exams. But as I said, I see a lot of hard work. I don't see my son being idle. I see him complaining about homework and complaining about work, which should be a good sign. At the exams, as I say, well, I just hope that he does his best, and I'm sure that the school did its best, and that's it. As I said, unfortunate circumstances. Preparation is not slacking. I see that, you know, my son's doing all kinds of mock tests, mock papers, past papers, etc. And, you know, that's as good as it gets. So, so I think that the school actually may have overdid the preparations considering they were online. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see at the exams. Unfortunate circumstances, but I'll be, you know, happy with whatever. I think it was pretty smooth. I think they weren't, I think they got used to it. The only complaint I heard was having to move from one classroom to another. Nothing else. But that they got used to it after, I'd say, 3 weeks. And that was it. I think they liked being more, the more individual approach. And I think they liked being able to choose subjects, which I didn't have the privilege of when I went to school. And everything was cool, and they moved to another building away from, you know, primary school kids, which is good. Sometimes it's good to mix, sometimes not. So I think the transition was perfectly okay. No noise. Just the moving from one room to another was a bit of a pain in the neck, but otherwise I think they were flying.